Hey guys, Bump here, bringing you another video on the Fyralath Legendary. So, this Wednesday, we had a couple of documented changes on Wowhead. Got them right up here. However, this is only a small piece of the entire change, because Fyralath was significantly buffed for both Frost and Unholy, and it's actually not stated here. We'll get to that later, but whew, it's actually a huge change. Anyway, as always, let's review the changes. Let's talk about the actual impact. Let's talk about me getting a legendary, because I did get it. Have a look at that. Yeah! I got it, baby! Also, let's give you some tips and tricks on actually when you're going to obtain it so that you can do it efficiently. Because I have a couple of things which I could have done better, which would have meant that I could have done it in a much quicker manner. Anyway, for the official changes that we got here, a couple of quality of life ones. So, it says that Mark of Fyralath is now correctly applied to secondary targets obliterate and is applied with the final strike of Rage of Fyralath. Essentially, Obliterate Cleave now works properly and will apply to everyone. That is irrelevant. I'll get to that later. The fact that it reapplies it with the last strike is quite nice. So in AoE, right, you press it, it consumes everything, but you're going to reapply it with that final hit, which is obviously going to increase the general uptime. However, Mark of Fyralath damage decreased by 20%, so a nerf on the dot generally. Rage of Fyralath duration is now affected by haste. This is so nice. So previously it was 3 seconds regardless, right? If you're in Bloodlust, you press that, it just takes up so many GCDs. It's now affected by haste. That means that it's actually now useful in Bloodlust without being a DPS loss. It's a really nice quality of life change. That means that you won't be channeling that for that long very often, right? Finally, Rage of Fyralath damage increased by 15%. So essentially, the unused got buffed significantly. So it takes a short amount of time to actually channel, and it does more damage. All right. Let's talk about the undocumented changes. So, for Frost DK, Howling Blast now applies Mark of Fyralath, right? It doesn't say that there, but that's how it works in game. And that's such a huge change. Previously, Frost didn't have any viable way of applying the mark. Right, you would obliterate, it would only apply to a single target every time, and then we kind of tab through, it's really bugged. You could pick a Frost Scythe to apply it, but Frost Scythe is a terrible talent, which no one wants to run. Now, in single target, you would just go Howling Blast, channel. In AoE, right, you will get Rhyme procs immediately from your most Winter Abomination Limb. You press that, everything has to mark. It is such a, when you look at the damage coming from the legendary Mythic Plus, it went from like being sub 3%, 2% to going all the way up to 7%. It's an insane buff if you have the weapon. Same thing for Unholy. Outbreak and Holy Blight now applies it. It wasn't that big of an issue because you could always do like Defile and Scout Strike, but that would only hit 8 targets at a time, right? You now hit Outbreak, you hit Blight, always do that starter pack, and then everything is going to have to mark. It is such a nice change. That's also going to be quite a nice DPS improvement. Not too sure why they didn't put this in. There are also a couple of other abilities that does it. It's quite weird at the moment. Like, if you have Pestilence, if you apply a wound, it also applies to mark for some reason. I don't know. Overall, though, this is going to see it. We're going to do so much more damage. If you couple that with the fact that we just got buffed by 4%, you're going to see a significant DPS increase in Mythic Plus scenarios. Right, let's talk about how does this change how we use the ability. So for Frost in single target, as I mentioned before, what you would do is that as you run towards the boss, you use Howling Blast, a naked Howling Blast, and then use the channel. So you apply mark, consume it immediately, and then you move on with the rest of your rotation, right? And then, as always, you just send other users when you don't have your cooldowns up. So when Pillar is not running, you don't want to use mark there. You don't want to use the rage during that period because it doesn't scale with the pillar, so it's a big opportunity cost. For Unholy, we are now back to like the standard rotation opener, so we RB before as we run to the boss, Outbreak, Festing Strike, and then use the mark. That's the general vibe. Secondary users use them outside of CDs. don't want to use it when you want to be, you know, building Festamite or hitting things where Unholy Assault is active, that kind of thing. For AoE, we still, it's a bit sort of tricky, but I would still recommend just using it towards the end of packs, so you don't get too much opportunity cost where you want to be, you know, going into your Obliterate Cleave or building up a Death Rod stack, hitting Epidemic and Unholy. Towards the end of packs, you know, you're not doing that much damage from your core rotation anyway, so it's a good opportunity to actually use the legendary at that point. Alright, so those are the changes. As I said, absolutely huge in AoE, good quality of life changes in a single target. If you looked at the simulation, it was like a 2k DPS upgrade for Unholy, just to the fact that we did it now hasted, which means that it fits much better into rotation, you know, that kind of thing. Alright. Those are the changes. Let's talk about how you acquire it. So there are already multiple guides out there. I'll just give you some tips and tricks that will speed up your kind of experience. So the super blooms that you have to complete is like one of the main time sinks. The important thing here is one, you complete one super bloom, it gives you this item which you use in a party member, they complete another one, and then they can use that item on you that gives you more, like 50% better acquisition rates. And you also get a quest yourself that you can use on yourself, so you get like 2 of those that you use. Do that as quickly as possible. The main thing though is when it comes to killing the final boss in the super bloom, because you can do that multiple times in a single kind of session. So what I would do is I join a big group, we do the super bloom really quickly, go in and kill the last boss. I immediately leave that group, go to group finder, and I find another one which hasn't come that far. Join that one, kill the final boss, leave it, join another one. Like I could do like 3. I think I once had I did generally 3 of the final boss, and it gives you loads of those dream leaves you need. Furthermore, when you want to kill the rares, it's a good opportunity to do that with the super blooms. What you want to do is you just stand far away from the rest of the raid, right? You can't be in combat, is the important thing. So you have to stand like behind them where the ads are not spawning. As soon as it spawns, use the item, applies the debuff on it, and then you kill it, and you get the rare item thing you need to collect as well. Another tip to getting your rares, you go to these frenzies. They spawn at the 30-minute and the 50-minute mark past the hour. They would spawn a rare, like if you kill, I think you need to kill, if you kill all the things around, it spawns a rare like every 2-3 minutes. It's a very efficient way of doing it. But if you combine that with the fact that you use it on the final boss and the super blooms, you're going to go really quickly. My final tip has to do with you get this quest where you have this 5-minute cooldown item. You click that, you have these orbs flying around, you pick them up, and you need to use these earth or fire or frost items, right? And then use it on yourself. And you need to do that 20 times. So 5 minutes, 20 times, that's 100 minutes if you do like that. However, head over to Acros, go to Proving Grounds. It allows you to reset items. You can just do that really quickly, right? Enter Proving Ground, exit, use the item, catch, and then channel, and then do that over and over again. And it's going to be much, much quicker. I think realistically, you can finish this in like 5-6 hours. And that's just, you know, mostly waiting around for the super blooms to spawn, that kind of thing. Anyway, those are my tips and tricks for the legendary. And you can see, it makes a big impact. These are my logs from yesterday. I got PI because I booked that in, but there was both a 4% off DPS increase and the legendary. I was topping on pretty much every fight. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself, and I'm feeling pretty good about Unholy because we really needed this. Well, I'm just very excited about it. Anyway, those are the changes. Really happy about the legendary. Obviously, very happy that I got it myself. So, yay. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about these changes. Are you happy that now you can now play Frost Infinity Plus with the legendary without having to deal with the fact that you can't apply the dot, you know? Upvote, downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.